Okay, so I got my Superman T-shirt on right now because we are going to talk about Superman and some of the rumors that have been going around lately. And there's some crazy stuff going on with Superman, and it's funny to me that they announced this like right after you have the premiere of the CW's Superman and Lois show, which I enjoyed, by the way. I downloaded the CW app onto my Fire Stick just so I could watch it, and it was fun. I liked the show itself. The experience of watching it on the CW app was kind of funny because it was like watching an old show on television back when you used to watch shows on television because it would have commercial breaks with commercials in the middle of them. And like, I would go and get a snack or go to the bathroom just like, you would do back in the old days when we watched broadcast television. So yeah, but that was a good show. But then like almost immediately afterwards we get the announcement of that there's going to be a new Superman movie that's going to be done by J.J. Abrams. Oh my god. Okay. So people online I've been talking to about this, and they're like, "What? Why aren't you excited about J.J. Abrams doing Superman?" And I'm like, "Cause I'm a Star Wars fan, and I'm a Star Trek fan, and, and I know what's coming." Like, okay, let me be real about this. I want you to understand where I'm coming from. When J.J. Abrams did his first Star Trek movie, the 2009 Star Trek movie, I thought it was absolutely awesome. I loved it. I saw that several times in the theater and enjoyed myself each time. But when he did Star Trek Into Darkness, oh man, that one was a stinker. I'm sorry. Like it was just a nonsensical plot that didn't make any sense. I know that's kind of redundant, but that's how little sense it made. I had to reiterate that the nonsensical plot made no sense. It was a bunch of stupid things that were just silly. Like they killed off Captain Kirk and brought him back with Khan blood. What? Like why? That was the dumbest thing. They pretty much just remade Star Trek 2: The Wrath of Khan, which is the best Star Trek movie, but they did it so poorly. And it's like I don't want to sound like I'm dissing on Zachary Quinto as Spock because I think he's a great Spock. Like I think he's probably the best Spock that you could get without going back in time to get Leonard Nimoy in his prime to play Spock. And he was actually the dude that, like, when I heard they were gonna, even before I heard they were gonna reboot Star Trek, I was saying if they did a reboot of Star Trek, that's the guy they need to get to play Spock because he would be awesome. And I was right; he is awesome. But the scene where he yells out "Khan" was just so cringy. And again, that wasn't his fault. That was not his fault at all because it's not something Spock should do. It's not a Spock thing. It's a Kirk thing. So it just seems so backwards, and I can't blame him. He did the best he could with it, but it just didn't work. So there were a lot of things that I really disliked about that particular Star Trek movie, but I don't want this to be a video about Star Trek in Darkness. Moving along, he did Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and I really enjoyed that movie. Like the first time I saw it when it was in the theaters, and I saw it a few times in the theaters again because I liked watching that movie in the theaters. But funny thing happened when I bought the DVD, or no, I bought the Blu-ray and got it home and was watching it, and I realized I wasn't enjoying it anywhere near as much as I enjoyed it in the theaters. And I think the reason why is because when it was in the theaters, I was really excited to be watching a Star Wars movie in the theaters. But once you get it home, and it's pretty much just like a beat for beat kind of like how Star Trek Into Darkness was like kind of but not quite a remake of Wrath of Khan. This was kind of but not really a remake of the 1977 Star Wars. So I was kind of like, I could just be watching that instead, you know. So I think that was why I wound up not liking that one as much as I did. And then they made The Last Jedi, and that one was just like, for me, that was the worst Star Wars movie ever made. And you can argue that, well, it was a better movie than, Episode 2. Yeah, maybe it was a better movie than Episode 2, but it wasn't a better Star Wars movie than Episode 2. You get what I'm saying? Like, as part of the Star Wars saga, it was an utter failure. Star Wars Episode 2, you know, certainly was a flawed movie, but it does kind of naturally feel like a chapter in this saga. Whereas Last Jedi, I don't know what's the story of the Star Wars sequel trilogy. What's the story of it? What's the story that the sequel trilogy is trying to tell? I can tell you what the sequel, like what the prequel trilogy story is, and I can tell you what the original trilogy story is. I don't know what the story is to the sequel trilogy. It doesn't make any sense as a as a trilogy on its own, or as sequels to the earlier Star Wars movies. It's bad, folks. It's bad. You can argue as to how good those movies may or not be, but as a trilogy, it's bad. So yeah. When I hear J.J. Abrams is going to be doing the new Superman movie, I am not filled with confidence. Like, not one little bit. No, no. I would rather they bring Joel Schumacher back from the dead and have him make a Superman movie where he has like nipples on his outfit and every single line of dialogue is an ice pun. I would rather they do that than let J.J. Abrams handle a Superman movie. I don't have any faith left in that guy at all. And if it comes out and it turns out it's a good movie, awesome. I will happily eat my crow. I like it with salt and a little bit of Tabasco. So, because it's off the flavor, like it's delicious. But like there are so many times when I'm happy I'm wrong, and that would be one of those times where I'd be very happy to be wrong. But I just don't have much faith in it. So, and they're saying it would be a reboot, and we don't need another reboot of Superman. Like, we're really just never reboot Superman again. Just do new Superman stories. Like, you can change around the costume, recast the characters, whatever. But the last thing I want to see is another story that starts off with like Krypton exploding and they send a rocket to Earth, and the nice kindly farm couple finds the baby and they raise it up to manhood, and he's like, I need to find a way to use my powers to help human. I'm over that. Like, we've got the Christopher Reeve movie, which is perfect, and doesn't you can't touch that. It's not something that can be improved upon. Do you understand me? Like, the only reason I thought Man of Steel worked as well as it did is because even though it was technically kind of telling the Superman story, it was less about like, hey, let's retell the Superman story, and more sort of looking at it like, what if Superman was a guy today who had grown up, within the past 30 years or so in the world that we live in, and how would that be different? So a lot of the changes that people complain about with Man of Steel are things that I actually really like, because it's what makes it a unique interpretation of that story and makes it something that was worth telling. So I like Man of Steel quite a bit. I liked all of Zack Snyder's DC movies. I'm not gonna lie. I'm really looking forward to the Snyder cut of Justice League, because it's about time we finally get that. And everybody knows that Joss Whedon butchered that movie. It's way past due that we get the Snyder cut. And honestly, I want to see more of Henry Cavill as Superman, which is another reason that I'm not crazy about the reboot idea. The reboot idea is stupid. Don't do it. Just get Henry Cavill in there. and make the kick-ass Superman versus Brainiac movie that we've needed to see since the 1980s. What should have been Superman 3, with Superman fighting Brainiac, make that movie. That's what we all want to see. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with me there. It's Superman versus Brainiac. That's your movie. Now, another rumor that I hear, and I hope that this is actually true, because this would be one of those things where I'm like, oh, okay, well, I might be interested in watching that, is they were talking about making a black Superman. Now, hear me out on this one, because I know a lot of you out there in the audience are going to be like, oh, here we go again with that PC, SJW bullshit, and, he's going to be black now, because we got to, kowtow to the lefties, and I don't really care about any of that. Just think about it this way. Anybody who's read the comic books knows that there is a multiverse in the DC universe. There are several different versions of Superman all throughout the multiverse. And in at least 2 cases, I can think of 2 cases where this is the fact, there are people who are Superman, with the name and the S on their chest and the cape and everything, who happen to be black people. There's black people on Krypton. Look it up. They live on Vothlo Island. Yeah, that's where the black people are from on Krypton. It's true. So yeah, there's a character named Calvin Ellis, and he's from Krypton in a parallel universe, and his Kryptonian name is actually Kal-El, like as one solid word. So it's kind of like Superman, but it's like a different Superman. It's a different thing, and he's a black guy, and he came to Earth, and on Earth he's known as Calvin Ellis, and he actually got elected president of the United States. And Michael B. Jordan, when he was talking, Oprah Winfrey asked him if he'd want to play Superman. He had actually stated that he wanted to play this version of Superman, because he figured, why piss off the fans, by, doing something when there's already a character here that fits the bill. Like, you do Calvin Ellis, they'll have a much easier time with that. And I think that would be a swell idea. There's also another character called Val-Zod, who was in the Earth 2 comic book. And I really like his costume. He has a really cool costume. So it's almost kind of like the Man of Steel costume, but imagine they swapped out the white, the red for white, so he's got a white cape and a white S on his chest with it's a white S that's over a red shield instead of a red S over a gold shield. But that would be cool. I would really like to see that. And plus, if they did one of these alternate universe versions of Superman, that still leaves the door open to do more of Henry Cavill as Superman. So you can have your cake and eat it too, man. It's like you got 2 different versions of Superman, and they could both be really cool. And, you could even do a crossover at some point, like have the, Clark Kent meet Calvin Ellis kind of thing, which, again, has happened in the comic books. So, I am very much of the opinion that if you're gonna try to do a Superman from scratch, do it that way. That would be really cool, and it would be better than just seeing them do a reboot where they do his origin again. That's not something that I don't think many people would be interested in seeing. But I think that if you did, this is the black version of Superman, I think that would actually do really well at the box office. I mean, think about how well Black Panther did at the box office. And that was a character that most people in the mainstream never heard of. But they were just excited to see, a really cool, black-centric superhero movie. Now you give them a black version of Superman, they're going to go nuts over that. People are going to be flocking to see that movie because it'll be something so bold and different. And I think that could be really cool. So, and it would be better than just making, oh, we're just going to make Superman, but he's a black guy. And it's I don't think that that would be as good as making a new character like Calvin Ellis and having that be a different version of Superman. Do you understand what I'm saying? Am I getting that? Am I explaining that correctly? Does that make any sense? people don't want like hand-me-down superheroes. They want to have their own superheroes, you know. And I think that if you introduce the Calvin Ellis version of Superman, that would be something people would get really excited about. Oh, wait a minute, there's a brother who's Superman and he's the president. Oh man, that sounds freaking awesome, and they're gonna go see that movie. Like, I want to see that movie. Like, you know, I'd be all about that. Even if J.J. Abrams was involved, I would go see that movie. I still wish they'd get like a different guy to honcho this. Like, J.J. Abrams. I don't know what they're thinking with that. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this episode. I'm gonna probably, hopefully, chat with Rudy about some of this stuff later. So we can maybe have some more insights into this. I'm looking forward to discussing the Superman and Lois show with him and seeing what his thoughts are on that. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this time. We will talk to you next time.